Ricken Financial presents Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. Gerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you reach the retirement you deserve. Let's build a strategy that gives you the confidence while meeting your financial wants and needs. Meet the team at rickenfinancial.com. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening to Kickin' with the Rickens podcast. We are here with retirement planner Heidi Ricken Provost and licensed insurance professional Gerry Ricken. My name is Mark Owens. We invite you to get more at rickenfinancial.com. You can get all the information here in the show notes. Thanks again for subscribing. Now, let's get to the show. We're talking this weekend about your retirement timeline. Let's start at those adults that are about 15 years away from retirement. Now what?
Okay, 15 years plus out. One of the things that a lot of people have done, if you're working for a corporation, you have a 401k. And when you started your 401k, Roth perhaps did not exist. The Roth option did not exist. So you were in the traditional option, which is deferring your taxes until you use it in the future. So many people that we meet with have not switched over to Roth because they really don't understand what Roth really means. Or they say, well, that's going to reduce my paycheck. Well, it may reduce your paycheck slightly right now, but you're going to be saving so much in tax in the future. Put all of your money, and some people will come to us and say, well, I'm putting 50% in traditional and 50% Roth. That makes no sense from a tax perspective because our whole background is in taxation. And when you look at taxation, sure, we have the One Big Beautiful Bill Act out there, and we're keeping our tax rates lower in the future, but nothing is permanent in the tax law. The only constant in tax law is change. And do you think for 1 minute that you're going to pay less in taxes 30 years from now than you are today, or 15 years from now than you are today, or 20 years? No, you're not. Things are going up. Things are increasing. Our debt is increasing. We're going to be paying more in taxes at some point in time. So why not take advantage of it now and put your money in the Roth bucket so you don't pay tax in the future on that earnings?
So you say that, Dad, and I think there's something that my generation can definitely learn from those who have gone before us and retired before we will be. I'm in my 30s, for those of you listening right now that may not know how old I am.
I'm about double that, by the way.
Hey, it's all good, you know? That's we balance each other out and, you know, have a different perspective on things. But I have a lot of conversations with prospects, clients, people who come through the doors here who unfortunately bought into the narrative that was taught to you and everyone in generations before you that if you put all of your money in traditional accounts for the rest of your working years, when you retire, you're going to pay less in tax. That's been a narrative forever.
It was the greatest thing since sliced bread when we were told that.
Yeah, everyone said,
was.
oh, you retire, you're going to pay less in tax. So what you do right now is you take advantage of deferring the tax and you put it in traditional. It'll reduce your taxable income right now during your working years. And then when you retire, you're paying less in tax anyway. Well, in actuality, that didn't happen.
It did not.
No, everyone is paying the same rates, if not higher rates of income taxes in their retirement years than they were in their working years. So what you're saying is so true. If they're going to match your funds, that's free money. Let's make sure we always take advantage of free money. There's no better money in the world than free money.
Free money is my favorite money.
It's good money.
And then tax-free money is the second
That's the eighth wonder of the world. That's the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah, it really is. Because, I mean, if you can have income coming in that you don't have to pay tax on, hey, life is going to be pretty good. So, you know, you want to make sure we're maximizing your match and the Roth really first. And if you don't have one of those employer-sponsored plans, that's probably when you need to give us a call more than anyone else, because the onus is on you to save for retirement. And how do you even know how to save for retirement if you don't have options set up for you at work? Well, give us a call at 314-207-6211. There are so many options available out there for you. We'd love to go over it with you. If you're sitting here thinking, okay, well, if I don't have a 401k or a 403b or whatever at work that I can put my money in, what do I put my money in? You can even head over to our website, rickenfinancial.com, and just put, how do I save? And we'll know what you're talking about, and we'd love to chat with you and give you some ideas. But outside of your employer-sponsored plans, there's some other things that you can be doing to help set you up for a great financial future when you're 15 plus years out.
You know, one of the things that people have an opportunity to invest in, especially if you have a high deductible health insurance plan, is an HSA, a health savings account. And the health savings account, the way that works is you put money in, and when you use it, it's tax-free as long as you use it for health care. And some people put money in, use it, put money in, use it. Our philosophy is you put money in and save it. Because when you retire and when you age up, your health typically doesn't improve. You're probably healthier now than you will be 30 years from now. And in 30 years from now, you'll need more money for health care. You'll be paying health care premiums. So why not pay that? Why not save this HSA money? Build your HSA as much as you possibly can. When you have health care expenses today, pay them out of other funds, not your HSA. Save that HSA, build that HSA, so that when you're retired, you have tax-free income to pay for those expenses.
And I love that plan. I actually met with someone last week, and when she met with me, she said, I don't know what your philosophy is going to be, but the last two advisors I met with told me that I did something really stupid with my money. And she was very concerned. You could hear it in her voice. And I said, oh my gosh, what did you do? And she said, I maximized my HSA every single year I worked, and I never spent a penny of it. And
That's
I'm like,
brilliant.
Okay. I was waiting for the shoe to drop, and she was like, and I had it invested, so it earned quite a bit of money. And now I'm sitting here with a really large HSA, and those other advisors told me that was a stupid move. And I'm like, well, I don't know what their philosophy is, but let me ask you a question.
It certainly isn't based in taxation.
Exactly. Yeah. But then I asked her the question, you're 62 and a half years old right now. When do you want to retire? And she said, well, I'm going to retire on my 63 and a half birthday.
Oh, that's very specific.
Oh, sounds like you have a plan in mind. Well, when you're 63 and a half, you can carry COBRA with you for 18 months. And there's this beautiful thing that happens when you turn age 65. You're eligible for Medicare for your health coverage. So she saved that HSA so that she doesn't even have to come out of pocket with a taxable income to pay for her health care insurance premiums by taking her COBRA from her work with her for 18 months before she hits 65.
That's what we're all about, is saving in taxation through retirement years.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, there really is no one-size-fits-all plan of what you can be doing when you're 15, 20, 30 years out from retirement. So at the end of the day, while we're talking about some ideas that probably work for you, there's no one-size-fits-all, do this, and you're going to be in great shape in the future. So, if you haven't kicked the tires, or you don't know if you're doing the right thing, or how to begin, or
how to save versus paying down debt, and all those questions that people have every day that they come in, we'd love to hear from you, because we can just sit down, have a conversation, and give you some thoughts and ideas. But before we do that, we want to know everything we can know about you, and that's just a matter of sharing information with us. Because the more information we share, the better advice we can provide. And if you just would pick up that phone right now, pick it up right now, 314-207-6211, call us and just have a conversation. Schedule some time with us. Heidi and I are very friendly people. We'd love to talk to you. That's 314-207-6211. And let's just start that conversation.
Yeah. And if you don't even know what to ask or what to do, or the timing's not right, give us a call and hang up, and you have that number saved for the future. Or head over to rickenfinancial.com, RICKEN. Check us out and, see if it might be the right fit. But you don't know what you don't know. And it doesn't hurt to have a conversation and see, okay, am I doing the right thing for retirement? Because that's our starting point of our purpose approach every single time we meet. We're going to talk about what you do with your life and what brings you joy, but we're also going to say, okay, if you make no changes at all and you continue on the financial path you're on right now, are you going to be in good shape? And sometimes all you need is just, am I going to be okay? So we'd love to go through that process with you.
Because a lot of people who come in say, oh my gosh, I'm so concerned about this, but we get to the end of their plan and they shouldn't be. But the people who aren't concerned should be. So it all depends upon where your risk tolerance is, how you feel about life, what you want to do in retirement, because it all starts with just a question. Am I going to be okay? And we can answer that.
We're talking this weekend about your retirement timeline. And I saw a fascinating story. Now, people who procrastinate or people who are constantly late, there's an official name for those people. Psychologists call them time optimist. Time optimist. So Heidi, Gerry.
Time optimist.
I know, right? It sounds too positive, like you're optimistic.
Yeah, that's way too positive. I think you're time pessimist. I think
If you're chronically late, that's not a good thing.
No, they're optimistic on how great time will treat them.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'm not buying what you're putting down.
Okay, well then tell me this.
Their friends have to be time pessimists because if my friend is late every single time, I'm going to get sick of it pretty quick.
We know some family members like
Shout out Aunt Linda, who's
Yes, Aunt
5
Linda.
hours late to Christmas every once in a while. Love you, Aunt Linda.
So with that being said, let's talk about procrastination and your retirement timeline and how it can do damage to your overall plan.
If you have not done anything to plan for your retirement and you're 5 to 10 years out, now is the time that it is incredibly paramount that you have to be matching your risk tolerance before doing anything else. And
you've got
why
to
is
kick
that?
it in gear right away.
Yes, you do. You have to kick it in gear because if you have done nothing to plan yet, you mentioned a study that you read or whatever that they call them time optimists.
Right.
I've seen this a lot lately, and it's true. Volatile markets, which we're all aware of the fact that the market has been pretty volatile this year. It's gone up and down and, all over the place.
But overall, it's been up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Volatile markets don't scare us. They don't hurt when it's going down unless you don't match your risk tolerance. So if you're investing based upon your risk tolerance and your investments match your risk tolerance, then when the market goes up, you're going to be happy. When the market goes down, you're still going to be somewhat happy. And you're going to be able to
because you're
sleep
risky-
at night
because you're matching that
You're
risk
matching your tolerance for risk. If you're fully invested in the market, and you're 5 to 10 years from retirement, and you have a conservative or a moderately conservative risk tolerance, you're going to not be happy, and it's going to hurt if the market goes down.
You can ask those individuals who retired in 2001, 2, and then got that hit, and then all of a sudden 2007, 8, and they had another hit, and they lost an entire decade, and they were using that money, and they weren't matching their risk.
Or you could ask the people who retired around then who were invested based upon their risk tolerance and how great it felt to not feel that pain when you're 5 to 10 years from retirement, or you just retired and you're actually matching your risk tolerance and it doesn't hurt as much when the market goes down.
Because something is protected for them.
But when you're on the precipice of retirement and you're 5 to 10 years out, if you're not matching your risk tolerance, you don't have the time. Everyone always says, okay, if the market goes down, markets always recover. They're always going to go back up. You're going to have time. If you're 5 years out from retirement, the market goes down and you lose a chunk of your nest egg, you don't have the wealth of time to make up for it.
There is no time.
No.
There is no time.
Right.
And it's the most crucial timeline in all of your working years to plan for your retirement 5 to 10 years out to make sure that you're matching your risk tolerance with what you're doing with your investments. And if you haven't done an analysis of your investments to see what kind of risk they're actually exposing you to, and if it's matching your tolerance for risk, that's probably the point in time you need to give us a call so we can make sure you do that and you see if what you're investing in truly matches your tolerance for risk. So if you want to take advantage of that, we'd love to help you look at that on a complimentary basis. Just give us a call at 314-207-6211 and say, hey, I don't know if, I want to talk about risk, or I don't know if I'm matching my risk properly or what my investments are really doing. And you don't know what you don't know. And this is a conversation we have a lot with people who enter the doors. They truly don't even know what kind of risk they're exposed to.
Yeah, because they look at their 401k plan and they set it and forget it years ago. And they said, I'm going to put it in the target fund about the year I retire. Well, they don't even know what that target fund is invested in or how risky those investments are. So what we need to do is take a deep dive into what are you investing in and what is your risk tolerance and how do you define that risk tolerance? And we help you and educate you on what that risk really is and what risk really means.
When it comes to market risk, which
Yes.
is what we've just been discussing here for a few minutes, but
There are
also
lots of other risks
when
out
it
there.
comes to tax risk, you're 5 to 10 years out. Well, what does your tax plan look like? Have you forecasted how the taxes are going to implicate you in the future? And if there's something you can be taking advantage of now to do some form of tax planning, if you've saved a lot of your income in those traditional accounts, like we talked about before the break earlier on
You're
in
not
the show.
unlike most Americans. Most Americans have saved them in those traditional accounts, those IRAs, those 401ks. You're going to pay tax in the future on.
You might have an opportunity to save on your future taxes by doing some Roth conversions. So, if you're 5 to 10 years out, it could be a great point in time to start taking a look at some of those Roth conversions. If you're not currently in your highest working years, but even if you are, you still might be able, pay-wise, you still might be able to take advantage of some Roth conversions. And if you're over the age of 59 and a half, you can actually use the funds in your traditional funds to pay that tax too, while you're converting from your traditional to Roth for future savings and taxes. But, that's really kind of the starting point. And then you got to start forecasting what your income needs are going to be.
And when you look at income, when you think about income, let's just roll this scenario out. Say you're in your 401k and you're going to plan to use your 401k to live off of in retirement, and all of a sudden a market correction happens and you're 5 to 10 years out, and it's all tax deferred. So when you take that out, it's all going to be taxable income, and your race of funds is lower because you've lost money. Well, that's a double entendre. You're losing money, you're using money, and it's all taxable. That's a bad scenario all the way around. So when we talk about diversification of risk, we want to talk about diversification of tax risk. And there are lots of things that people don't even know about in the tax world. And we live and breathe taxes here every day. Every day we live and breathe taxes because we want to expose you to what's available to you to minimize taxes in your retirement life. And forecasting that income. If you can have income that is tax-free in retirement, that's a lot better than income that's taxable. But whatever the case may be, we need to forecast your income and know what your income needs are, what your expenses are. A lot of people don't want to change their lifestyle in retirement. We don't want you to change your lifestyle in retirement, but we have to figure out what your income needs are to pay for those expenses so that you can live the life of luxury that you'd like to live.
And, 5 to 10 years out, that probably looks like, hey, what's your take-home pay look like right now? And out of that, what are you saving? And that'll give you a good starting point for how much money you're going to need to spend money in retirement. But you also have to think about this. When you're working, what day of the week do you spend the most money, Mark?
Probably on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Playing golf, going out to dinner, taking the kids out, grandkids out, maybe doing a little shopping. Yeah.
And when you retire, every day is a Saturday. So, are your income needs going to change in retirement? Hey, they might. And as you start retirement, hey, you've worked so hard to save this money. Why not spend a little bit more if you can on the beginning of stages of your retirement, when you can and you have the time and you have the health and you have the ability? Well, you might have to forecast some future income, additional income at the beginning of your retirement, because you want to make sure that when you retire, we're feeding your soul and bringing you joy, and it fits into your purpose plan. But, if you're 5 to 10 years out and you haven't thought through what you're going to do with your time in retirement,
now is the time to think about that, because you need to find something that feeds your soul. You just don't want to rot away on the couch. We had a couple that came in a few days ago, actually, and he's getting ready to retire. She's still working, and we said, "What's going to feed your soul? What are you going to do?" And she said, "Well, I've got honey-do lists." Well, having honey-do lists of my own, I had to buy a second refrigerator, in fact, because my honey-do list was so long. I had to buy 2 refrigerators to put it on. But after that honey-do list is done, then what do we do? What's going to feed your soul? We can't just have a little list to feed your soul for the next 30 years. We need to think about that.
Yeah. So you're 5 to 10 years out and you're thinking, okay, they just said we got to forecast my income needs, do some tax planning, some risk analysis when it comes to the market risk, the tax risk. What am I doing with my time? This is a lot. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, honestly.
Right.
But that's really the starting point. And you shouldn't have to do it alone, because none of us should have to do anything alone in this world. So we'd love to help you work through each step of the way. If you're 5 to 10 years out, we do know this is the most important time to make sure that you're matching your risk tolerance. So that could be our starting point. But hey, we'd love to make sure you've thought through all the different big timeline steps you should be taking right now.
Because if you don't, that tip of the iceberg that you just talked about, you could be on the Titanic and hitting that iceberg. We don't want that to happen. So in order to avoid that catastrophe, please call 314-207-6211. Reach out to Heidi and I, because we'd love to have that conversation and just work through the purpose plan with you.
We've talked about it. 15 years out, what should I do? 5 to 10 years out of retirement, what now? Well, how about to those adults that aren't years away? We are months away from retirement. 3 to 6 months. The date has been circled. You're ready to clock out for the last time. You know what to expect. You've already got that honey-do list ready. But now what?
Well, we got to come up with that plan to replace your paycheck, because the beautiful thing that happens when you no longer work and you retire, you no longer get a paycheck coming in from work.
And we say that's beautiful because it can be frightening to a lot of people. And
absolutely.
Yeah. So people come to us every day and say, what am I going to do? Should I take Social Security right away? That's an immediate thought.
That usually is an immediate thought. And I'll tell you, if you have other assets that you have saved for retirement, I want you to listen right now. I'm going to give you permission to retire one day and draw your Social Security retirement benefits on a different day. They don't have to happen on the same day. Believe it or not, you can actually separate the two dates. You can retire whenever you want to, and you can draw your Social Security anywhere from age 62 to age 70. If you don't take it by age 70, it doesn't keep growing. You just lose out on money coming from the Social Security Administration, but you do have to apply at some point in time.
Because it is your money after all, and we need to recoup that money and then maybe make a little bit extra on that money that you saved all these years.
Yeah, and if you're married, you probably need to be looking at which one of the two of you has been the higher wage earner during all of your working years to really determine who should be drawing your Social Security benefits when, because it doesn't always make the most sense to take them the day that you retire.
Right.
A lot of people who come to us are now, born in 1960 or later. And they come in, they say, well, when are you going to retire? We ask them the question, when are you going to retire? I'm going to retire at 67. Why? Because that's when I can retire. Because that's when their full Social Security, full retirement age is and Social Security. That has nothing to do with when you can retire. Zero.
No, but I'll tell you, if you're going to draw your Social Security benefits while still working, that's the only point in time we have to consider full retirement age, because if you take your Social Security and you work and you take it before your full retirement age, you're probably going to have to pay some of your Social Security back. So that's really the only point in time that the two dates, make sense.
Yeah.
But you have permission to take your Social Security whenever you'd like to. So you're 3 to 6 months out from retirement. Now's the time to look. We should have already been coming up with a plan prior to this, by the way, for when you should be drawing your Social Security benefits. But 3 to 6 months out, if that retirement date happens to coincide with when you're going to take your Social Security retirement income, then we're going to start the process of applying for your Social Security benefits.
And some people say, well, I'm going to do this with my Social Security, but they don't look at what's best for the family. And when I say what's best for the family, you and your spouse. If you're married out there and you're thinking about, hey, I'm going to take it at 62, blah, 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 that may not be the best thing for you, especially if you're a higher income wage earner.
And if you don't know where to turn to get the answer for when you should draw Social Security, by the way, the answer is not going to the Social Security Administration, because legally they cannot give you advice.
And they will not.
Yeah. But if you need some help trying to figure out, okay, this quagmire of there's hundreds of different points in time you can take this benefit and how does it actually work, give us a call. We'd love to help you figure out what the options are for you and your family and what kind of makes the most amount of sense. And we'd be happy to do that as it falls into our purpose approach of how we're going to help you plan out your financial future and your retirement on a complimentary basis. So give us a call at 314-207-6211. If you want some of that Social Security advice, we're here to give it to you. But Social Security is just the starting point if you're 3 to 6 months out, because what else do we need to plan for?
Well, before we move on to Social Security, there are just so many different things that people don't understand out there. If you're divorced, if you're married, what's your survivor benefits? What's your divorce? I mean, there are all kinds of things out there.
Yeah, if you've lost your spouse, there's different benefits available to you as
There certainly
well.
are.
If you're helping to raise a child under the age of 18, there are other benefits available out there for that as well.
That's right. That's right. But, one of the things that most people aren't blessed with anymore are pension plans. Mm-hmm. But those of you who do have pension plans, God bless you and thank you for working in your career and having a pension, because a pension is a paycheck for life. And when we look at pension plans, we want to make sure that, first of all, your pension is solvent, because we've seen, unfortunately, some mismanagement of pension plans in the past, and people have lost benefits in their pension plan. And we don't want that to happen, because you paid into that pension plan your entire working career, in addition to Social Security in most cases.
And usually the solvency of a pension plan doesn't change on an overnight basis. But on the off chance that it does, when you're 3 to 6 months out from retirement, that's when you really need to make sure that your pension plan is solvent and ready to financially support you for your future.
That's right. And some pensions have a lump sum option or a partial lump sum option. And you can look at all those different kinds of things. Maybe you haven't saved enough on the side. You need to carve out a little bit of that pension. But it's all about planning for your income. That's what it's about. It's about planning for your income, planning for those expenses that you have and that you want to have. Perhaps you want to take more future vacations in retirement. We made a little bit more income. Well, pension income is great for that. Social Security's income is great for that. But there are other ways that we can also do income planning.
Yeah, so you're 3 to 6 months out and you're going to potentially apply for your Social Security. Then you're going to look into the solvency of your pension plan and maybe even apply for those benefits too. And look at other streams of income that you'll need to replace your paycheck. And that can come from all the other different types of savings that you've set aside for your future. And that's going to change person to person based upon how much money you need coming in to cover your expenses in retirement. Then there's the beautiful plan for health insurance. So say you retire before age 65. Well, we kind of mentioned this earlier, but maybe you start drawing funds out of your HSA to cover health insurance premiums before you hit that magic age 65, where you get to now take your Medicare. Mm-hmm. And you got to apply for your Medicare. So 3 to 6 months out, that's the perfect point in time to do that Medicare application, not only for the Medicare benefits that come in from the government, but also what other supplement or advantage plan you'd like to take advantage of.
And that's also the time frame that we failed to mention that you should really look at Social Security, because you want to make sure that you're applying for Social Security before you actually take it. And if you are taking it 3 to 6 months out before you retire, we want you to make sure that you have that plan in place and you have your application on hand with them. And we, in fact, last night, we filled out one of those applications online for a client who is retiring at the end of this month. So if you'd like to have that opportunity to just sit down with us and we can show you how the tools work and what those tools are, and really apply for those things, call 314-207-6211. We'd be happy to just sit down, walk you through the process, and make sure that you understand every bit of it and how it impacts your retirement life and how that income may affect you if you retire early, retire late, or whenever you're going to retire. We want to make sure that you have income as long as you have blood pressure.
And since you're only a couple months away, we also need to make sure we kick those tires again on that risk analysis, because at the end of the day, this is also an incredibly important time to make sure that your risk tolerance is matching your investments. So you're 3 to 6 months out, you've applied for Social Security. If you're going to apply for Social Security right now, you've taken a look at your Medicare application, done the Advantage plan or the supplement you want to do with it, made sure your pension is financially solvent. And if not, maybe take that pension plan and do something with it. Otherwise, apply for your pension income and all the other forms of income that are come in. And then when you add it all up, life is going to change dramatically now. So you're going to do a tax plan and make sure that when these other streams of income start kicking in your retirement, you've had the taxes planned for properly. And then you get to do something really beautiful. You get to sit back, relax, and enjoy the beginning of retirement because you're 3 to 6 months out.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.